Today is March. Well, at least in a couple of days, it'll be March. Hi, I'm Rachel Lynn, and I'm working my way through my student loan debt. I'm also here to give you tips, tricks, inspiration, and motivation along your debt-free journey. If you are not already, please go ahead and click that red subscribe button down below so that we can inspire and motivate each other together. So, of course, that means it is time to set up my March budget. If you have not already set up your March budget, then you need to watch this video, see how I set up mine. While you're watching, think about what you need to do for your budget, and then after this video is over, go make your March budget right away. You don't want to be caught starting in the month without having a plan ready to go. Don't forget that having a budget doesn't mean that you just set it and forget it and then you use the same budget month to month. Different things come up throughout the year. In the month of March, I can't really think of a whole lot that comes up in March, but I do know that it's St. Patrick's Day. Maybe that's a holiday that you like to, go all out and celebrate. I feel like that holiday keeps getting bigger and bigger every year. Maybe your car insurance comes up this month. I don't know. Whatever it is, you need to think about those kinds of things. But for me, for March, I don't think there's a whole lot. But at the same time, I do have a lot of plans for several changes for March, just because I'm not happy with the way that my budget went in February, which you'll have to subscribe to my channel and check out my February budget update, which I plan to post next week. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into my budget and see how I plan on setting things up for March. There's a couple of tweaks, a couple of changes that I want to point out, and so let's go ahead and get into it now. Okay, here we go for the month of February. Nope. Okay, here we go for the month of March. The first thing I'm going to do is change the date. All I do is copy and paste the whole entire budget into like a new spreadsheet. And so, of course, I need to change the date up at the top. Next up are my notes. I'm putting a note in here that for restaurants, I actually want to spend less this month because I feel like that spending has been a little bit out of control the last couple of months. And so I am really going to kind of tighten the reins on that and have less spending in restaurants. Right now, I don't have any other notes for the month of March just because March is a pretty mundane month when it comes to my normal life. So I don't really have any other notes right now. The first thing I'm going to do is just go through all of my spending for this month. I have my general budget in here. You may or may not notice that this goes from A to C. That is because I have hidden another tab in here. That tab is actually my my bare bones budget that I had to be on for about 6 or 7 months last year, where I was spending very little because I didn't have a job for a while, and when I didn't have a job, I was spending very little. Now I just go by my general budget and make adjustments and tweaks here and there as needed. For my church giving, this comes out of my account automatically every Monday. There are 5 Mondays in the month of March, so I actually need $150 allotted. This spending might go up a little. It's not spending. This giving might go up a little bit soon. I'm not really sure when, but sometime in the early to mid-spring, my church asks for us to give an estimate on what we plan on giving. My church does not require tithing or anything like that. They just want to kind of have a budget to work off of. So if you plan to give the same, they want to know, and if you plan to give less, then they want to know, and if you plan to give more, then they would like to know. So I like to use that yearly pledge as an opportunity to give a little bit more each year. This is a very personal issue. I have gotten some comments that say that I shouldn't give at all because I have debt to pay. I truly do not believe in that. And I also have gotten comments that I should be giving more because it's not a full 10%. Going on down to my rent, I will be, it'll stay at $200. That is, it's not exactly my minimum payment. My minimum payment is actually less than $200, but every month I put in $200 into the account that my undergrad degree payment comes from. It is a completely separate account. I do live at home with my parents right now, and I pay $200 for rent. My parents are paying for my undergrad degree as they promised when I entered college. So because my rent to live at home is $200, I just put a full $200 in that account, and then every couple months I'll make an extra payment. I won't really ever tell you when I do that. It'll just be done when it's done. My graduate student loan payment, of course, I am fully responsible for my own graduate student loans, and I am paying $72.52 from income-based repayment, and that is the minimum payment. My goal is to put my general budget, at least for right now, is about $1,100. And I just completely realized that I totally spaced out, and I have not been able to tell you what my new regular income is. That's why I don't have an extra student loan payment on here. That's why it's zero from the month of February, because I didn't know what my regular paychecks were going to be. So my new income should be $1,103.88 twice a month. This means my general budget amount down here should actually be $2207.76 rather than $2161.81. So this is some adjusting that I actually need to do myself. So my general budgeted income should actually be $2207.76 rather than $2291.86. The previous amount was what I was paid at my last teaching job. The reason why I'm getting paid less, even though I'm actually getting paid just a tiny little bit more, is because I have upped my 401k contribution. I can get into that later in another video at another time, but I feel like the small amount that I'm kind of, I guess, quote unquote, losing out on in my monthly income will be more than made up for it in my 401k, and also with the contributions that my work provides on top of my own because of the match that they give us. So now that this is in here, I actually need to adjust my general budget just a little bit. Everything, I guess, is pretty much set except for my extra student loan payment. That's really where the extra money will go. It's about $11.45. There's, give or take some, pennies, cents in here. So I'm not going to worry about that little bit as long as these two numbers are very, very close, and that my actual budgeted amount is not over my actual budgeted income. Okay, so let's get back on track. So this means that my extra student loan payment, actually I want to do this at the end just because it might not be the same amount as this right here. My extra checking account is really just half of my emergency fund. I don't really add anything to it. That's why it's zero right there. My sinking funds, I don't plan on changing this at all. At the end of this video, I'll go over my sinking funds and how much I have in each one of my sinking funds starting out in March. HP Instant Ink should stay the same. I don't plan on it being over again this month. I've printed very little in the last month or two. Verizon will stay the same at $54. My gas money will stay the same at $50. I almost feel like I could probably get away with getting gas once a month. I live so close to my new school that it's ridiculous. But it just makes me really uncomfortable to say I can only fill up one time. My groceries, I'm going to keep the same at $100. I feel like that's doing me okay for buying some, breakfast and lunches as I need them at school. And also having things at home to eat when my parents aren't around and when we don't eat together. So I feel like this does me pretty well. Sometimes I feel like I want to go over, and sometimes I spend hardly any of it. So I think $100 is a fine balance. For my teaching supplies, I feel like there might be some things that I'd like to purchase. And so I am going to keep that at $100 at least for a little bit longer. That doesn't mean I'm going to spend it, but it does mean that I can spend it if I need to. And being in a brand new grade, coming into the middle of the year, things just keep coming up that I'm surprised about and don't always know about. So I'm just going to keep it at $100. My spending money, I am going to lower back down to $60. I really feel like I might need to up that a little bit more because I did get Netflix back, and I've also been paying for Amazon Prime, although I probably should cancel Amazon Prime because my spending money is not just
going to the movies and doing fun things. It's also buying things that I need that don't fall under food for groceries. So if I need hairspray, if I need shampoo or conditioner or face wash, makeup and makeup remover, all of that stuff goes under my spending. So spending is more about things that I actually need than it is about having fun. Right now, I'm going to see if I can get away with spending $60 in the month of March. For my restaurant budget, this is where I really want to try to rein things in. I've been having a really hard time with this, and so I'm actually going to lower my budget by half. $20. That's all I get. I can use gift cards, I can use cash, but I cannot use my cards to go out to restaurants unless it's basically an emergency. Let me be clear here, eating out is never an emergency that should come from your emergency fund. But I think having $20 in a restaurant budget, just in case, because I don't want to take it down to zero, because you never know what might happen. And then of course my health allocation will stay at $50, but I haven't been spending that at all. I really need to think long and hard about what it is that I should be doing health-wise, and where I should be maybe putting my money and putting my efforts in that area. So right now that puts me at $1,095.95. I can put that towards my student loan payment. Like, that's my goal for this month, is to put close to $1,100. So it's not quite my regular goal of $1,145. However, I do still have teaching is up to $40, although I took my restaurant budget down. But then I also have an extra $30 that is going to church this month. So that also makes a difference. Currently right now, if you look right here, it says $2207.76. That is what my planned budgeted income should be this month, $2207.76. Now let's take a look at my sinking funds. So here is where my sinking funds are starting out in the month of March. If you have ever taken notice of my sinking funds before, you want to know why some of these amounts may have changed, because yes, I did spend some money from a couple of these sinking funds in the month of February. You can check out my February budget recap, which I will post next week. So I am starting out with Progressive as my car insurance, and I have $50 in that account. I'm skipping my emergency fund. That's half of my emergency fund, which is why over here it says $500 because it's in two different accounts. So I have $50 in my account for Progressive. I have $150 for gifts. I have $100 in miscellaneous for different things that come up. $275 in car repairs and replacement, $100 in my clothing fund, $350 in my medical fund, $50 in my YouTube fund that is to purchase things to help improve my channel and the quality of the content, such as lighting and sound. So not a whole lot that I can get for $50 right now. And then it is also saving for taxes, because I do need to plan and prepare for that. And then I have $325 in my family time sinking fund. So if you don't know, my mom needs a liver and kidney transplant, and so I have a family time sinking fund when it comes to spending time with my family. When things come up, I don't want to miss out on precious time that I may or may not have, depending on, if my mom gets the transplants that she needs. Then I also have an extra change sinking fund, and that one is just to make things even, which really what that is, if I spend money from in here throughout the month, then I may take a little bit more money out and like put it towards savings or throw it actually towards debt, something along those lines, just to keep things even. I can be very particular about the way that my amounts come out. I like them to be on the $25 amount because that's what I put in, and so I just like it to be even. So that right there is my total budget. So I am ready to go for the month of March.
Okay, that is my March budget setup. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it helps inspire you to create your budget. This week, I also posted a video with my dad, and I interviewed him and asked him all kinds of questions about taxes. You will actually see that I have already gotten my tax refund from the federal IRS anyway, not from my state yet, but I have already gotten that in the month of February. So if you want to know all about taxes, then go and check out this video right here. And just my dad is so much fun. You'll love him. So I will see you on the next one. Bye.